Hi, I'm Alex Grokut, Product Manager for Kyle Microcontroller Tools here at ARM, and today I'm going to talk about ULINKpro, the new debug and trace probe from Kyle. ULINKpro gives you best access to Cortex-M class microcontrollers with complete visibility and control of the application it's running. Before we examine ULINKpro in more detail, let's take a quick look at the Cortex-M class devices that it's been designed to work with. All Cortex-M class processors include the new CoreSight debug architecture. More details of this are available from the Kyle website. This diagram shows an example of the Cortex-M3 and highlights the CoreSight components that ULINKpro uses to provide debug and trace functionality. Debug logic on the core includes standard run, stop and step control. The breakpoint unit supports up to 8 hardware breakpoints. The debug interface now has direct access to memory. This means you can read and write memory while the system is running. All Cortex-M3 processors also have additional trace logic. A dedicated data watch point and trace unit allows you to monitor areas of memory or variables of interest. Live updates are provided via a trace channel, so status can be monitored in the debugger. The instrumentation trace macro cell allows you to add your own data to the trace stream. This provides debug communications functionality without the overhead of additional I/O support for a debug console. The optional embedded trace macro cell can provide instruction trace for analysis and code coverage. The debug interface is accessed via 5-pin JTAG or the new 2-pin serial wire debug connector. ITM and DWT data is available via the single-pin serial wire viewer channel. Instruction trace from the ETM is collected via a dedicated 4-pin trace port interface. The trace port offers much higher bandwidth and is also used to transmit ITM and DWT data. So how is all of this useful to me as a developer? By using direct debug access to memory, Microvision allows me to monitor my variables in real time. I can see values updated in the watch window. I can also display this information graphically and even modify memory, all whilst the system is running. The instrumentation trace macro cell allows me to output debug messages from my application code without having to configure a dedicated serial channel. Instruction tracing also allows me to examine the full history of all the instructions that have been executed in my application. Code coverage information is provided in a high-level summary view with statistics for functions and modules, and also in detailed source and disassembly views to show each and every instruction with its individual coverage status. ULINKpro introduces a powerful new feature called streaming trace. This allows ULINKpro to guarantee 100% accurate code coverage information. Traditional trace tools capture a limited amount of trace in a buffer on the probe. This imposes a fixed limit on the amount of information that can be captured and analyzed during each execution of your application. Typically, this is restricted to only a few seconds and usually just a few microseconds of data that can be captured at any one time. The buffered trace data is then transferred back to the debug tools as an atomic trace capture session, which is then decompressed and displayed as the trace information that you see in the debugger windows. The probe can now be used to capture trace again once it's reprogrammed, but it will have missed the events that have occurred between the buffer becoming full and it being drained and then reset. This represents many millions of instructions that simply cannot be traced. ULINKpro's streaming trace implementation has no such restrictions. Trace data is transferred directly to the host in real time. Trace information can be captured for minutes, hours, or even days without any loss of data. This is critical to provide 100% accurate code coverage information, and only ULINKpro provides this functionality. Streaming trace generates a large amount of data, but by using one of today's high-performance workstations, you can access the data in real time and view all of your trace instructions instantaneously. ULINKpro offers all of these new features as well as the standard debug support previously offered by ULINK2. ULINKpro also supports Manchester-encoded serial wire viewer trace, which introduces transfer rates of up to 100 megabits per second, where ULINK2 supported only 1 megabit per second. Be sure to check out our other videos showing how to use ULINKpro for code coverage and trace, and visit the website for details of other Kyle products. Thanks for listening.